Thank you. The 4th of July, Rabbi Levitt, Horeb.
Lou, that was a quick fix. Very good.
Okay. And so follows a chart.
Very good.
Yeah, all right. And
there's three notes, and he's tying the three notes to three different formulations. The tarat, which is referring to the tekiah, trua tekiah. That's the standard trua that we do. He's speaking that out right now. Corresponds to three different threes. The first three is Malchus, Zichronis, and Shofros, and they in turn correspond to Tshuva, Tefillah, Tzedakah, and they are those two threes correspond to the third three of Hashem. How Hashem appears in those threes. Malchus, Hashem is king. Zichronos, Hashem is the judge. He remembers what happened. And Shofros is Hashem is the father. So the king is generally the din, and the father is the rachamim. And so Hashem is the judge as a king and as a father, with din and rachamim. And through Tshuva, Tefillah, and Tzedakah, we can be mavirin es roya hagezera. We can appeal to Hashem's rachamim through our Tshuva, Tefillah, and Tzedakah. And this is all reflected, says Rav Hirsch, in the different notes of the shofar, in the three-pronged sequence that we use in order to fulfill the mitzvah of Tekiyah Shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Oh, and then he goes even further. He expounds further upon the fact that the master, the call of the master, in others, that's referring to the king. The king is the master. That's Malchus. His call. Each one of these has Hashem is making a call to us. So that the call of the master, the Malchus, is to look inward and to rise above ourselves and our just involvement in the outer exterior superficial world that we are involved in, and reconnect to Hashem, rise above. That's Malchus, Hashem Malkeinu. And so he's also evoking that pasuk in Yeshaya, the three parts of that as well. Hashem Malkeinu, Hashem is our king. That's Malchus, and that's really the tshuva. That's the tshuva of Rosh Hashanah. Tshuva of Rosh Hashanah does not involve vidui. It doesn't involve klapping al chet. It doesn't involve saying Hashamnu Bugadnu. It's the tshuva is a change in our mindset of looking above and looking inward to us and reconnecting ourselves to Hashem. And then there's Zichronos. Hashem is calling to us as a judge, for us to examine ourselves. What happened this last year? and that's Hashem Shoftenu. Okay, and that is a Cronus, and then we have Shofris. Shofris is Hashem, is the call of the Father to renewed life of courage, to keep it going. It shouldn't just be on Rosh Hashanah. It should be that the Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of a renewed life. He calls it a life of courage because it takes courage to look inward and to rise above and reconnect to Hashem. So that's Hashem Mechokekenu. Interesting. He says that is referring to Hashem as our Father, Hashem Mechokekenu. I mean, the general translation of Hashem Mechokekenu is like he himself said in section 230, Hashem is our lawgiver. But here he's connecting that part of the pasuk to Hashem is our Father, the call of the Father. Okay, very good. Okay, 231. We go to Lou.
The inner frame of mind induced by the grievous wasting of one's life can, however, arise from two causes. The consciousness, for the time being, of one's unworthiness and of one's powerlessness to rid oneself of it, or the contemplation of one's past unworthy life, which cannot be recalled. The expression of the first corresponds to one's outcry of physical pain at the first moment of one's experience of it. That of the second corresponds to one's expression of pain in the case of a continuous persisting hurt, or to some sad event which is lamented. The first is groaning, the second whimpering. Out of this arose different forms of the broken tone of the trua, namely shivarim, corresponding to the groaning, and trua, corresponding to the whimpering. Later, as a sort of compromise, they were combined so that three arrangements were prescribed. In the first arrangement, shivarim and teruah are combined with shivarim first in the natural order. In the second arrangement, shivarim all alone is sounded, and in the third, teruah alone. Pattern now is tekiah, shivarim, teruah, tekiah, tekiah, shivarim, teruah, tekiah, tekiah, shivarim, teruah, tekiah, tekiah, shivarim, tekiah, tekiah, shivarim, tekiah, tekiah, shivarim, tekiah, tekiah, teruah, tekiah, tekiah, teruah, tekiah, tekiah, teruah, tekiah.
So the now he's getting into the. It sounds like he's connecting the sound of the shofar, a sound of groaning, a sound of whimpering, corresponding to the different notes of shvorim and trua. And what's the groaning and the whimpering all about is when a person he looks inward, and looking inward might and self-examination might cause a lot of groaning and whimpering. So That's reflected in the notes of the shofar, shvar and trua. They come together in the first set, and then the second and the third they stand by themselves, always being sandwiched by the tekiah, the straight sound beginning and the end. Yeah. Okay. 232. The rotation continues, or goes again. We start with Mayor. Or
Okay,
what was it? Mayor or Alan? Alan was first.
I think Alan, yeah.
Okay, which number?
232.
232, okay. For summoning the congregation as described in Numbers, chapter 10, solos, clarions of silver made by the skilled hand of man were sounded. They were used only for the purpose of outward order in the camp. For the shofar of Rosh Hashanah, however, whose purpose is to rouse the purely divine in man, no artificially constructed piece of work may be sounded. It must be an instrument in its natural form, a shofar, i.e., natural hollow, with life given to it by the breath of man speaking to the spirit of man. For you cannot attain to Hashem by artificial means or by artifice. And no sound which charms the senses, but which does not appeal to man's better self, can raise you to God. Indeed, you might surrender yourself again to your low-based way of living. The pure, unaffected sound of the natural shofar should stir your heart and mind and attune them to the significance and call of its tones. All natural hollow horns of clean animals are valid for the shofar of Rosh Hashanah, except the horn of the bull, which is linked with the memory, sad for a nation, of the sin of the golden calf, and which is, in fact, is not called shofar. Once you take, if possible, the bent horn of a ram, bent in conformity with the contrite mood of the day, evoked by the teruah of the ram, because it preserves the noble memory of Abraham's sacrifice, the prototype in history of the subservience of self to God. The pitch of the tone does not matter. A preferred horn is valid if another is not available, it's stopped up with raw material. The larger port remains undamaged, and after the repair, the tone of the shofar is restored and is valid. Cracks along the length may be fused together again by fire. One side is split through, the shofar is quite useless. If it's split across the breadth more than halfway, and there are not four thumbs from the spirit of the split to the mouthpiece, the shofar is invalid.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, the beginning
What?
part, the beginning part is they're all natural hollow horns of clean animals.
Right. Even though he compared this particular notes that are sounded and to the chatzrotzos, which are made by man, made out of silver that's mined and smelted. But for the mitzvah of shofar, you need to have it all natural from an animal which is tahor. So we use particularly we use a ram, and of course and not even though and even though a cow is a kosher animal, it's tahor, but it's that's not taken because of the its association with the golden calf. So we don't want that our defender should become our prosecutor, or the other way around, whatever it is. So we don't take that. We could actually take a goat. Also, he didn't. He wasn't in the goats. Was not involved in the golden calf, but the particular preference for a ram because that was calls the Akedas Yitzchak. Okay.
Wow. Huh.
It's and it's with the yeah, and it's bent. It's the shofar that if it's bent, it's better that it's bent. Most of them are because that's what we're doing. We come to Hashem in a posture of being a little bit bent. Okay, 233. On to Mayor.
Okay, very good. It says one must blow directly into the shofar. The shofar may be blown at any time from sunrise, and in case of necessity, from daybreak. If Rosh Hashanah falls on a Shabbat, the blowing of the shofar does not take place. But the lesson of the Truah concept, Machiot, Zigronot, and Shofrot, remains. Listening to and talking to heart and taking to heart the message of the tones are, of course, the essence of the mitzvah. The blowing of the shofar should be done with the view to fulfilling the mitzvah, and both the one who blows the shofar and the one who listens must have the intention, the one to assist every listener to fulfill his obligation, the other to fulfill his. The sound of the tikiyah and the truah are the same length. Truah, 9 of the small staccato notes. Shvarim, 3 longer ones. Tikiyah, a gradually rising sound of duration of 9 small staccato notes. They are sounded in the order Tashrat for the length of the 18 staccato notes. The shofar is blown in the above-mentioned order after Kriyat HaTorah and before Musaf. When the cantor repeats the Musaf and comes to the conclusion of each of the 3 sets of brachot, namely Machiot, Zichronot, and Shofrot, he must blow the shofar each time, sounding 1 set of notes, either Tashrat each time, or the first time Tashrat, the second time Tashat, and the third time Tarat. It would be most appropriate to sound each time, Tashrat, Tashat, and Tarat. All further details are explained in, I guess, other chapters.
Yeah, the O stands for Orach and the CH stands for Chaim or Chaim in the Shulchan Aruch 585 to 596.
Wow.
Okay. Wow, and that takes care of shofar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so And yeah, that's what he says. Listening to the shofar and everything that we said that it alludes to in the Malchus, the Cronus, and Shofris, and taking to heart the message of these tones are, of course, the essence of the mitzvah. And we blow the shofar in order to fulfill the mitzvah. The one who blows has to have in mind everybody in the congregation who's not blowing, and to be motzi them in the mitzvah of Tekiah Shofar, and everyone else has to listen and have in mind that they're hearing the notes in order to fulfill their obligation of Tekiah Shofar.
Might be an idea to write this down as a note and put in a page, because we don't sort of normally think of what Reb Hirsch said about the shofar, what it represents, the different blowings.
Excellent. Very good.
Yeah.
You're elected, Roy. We'll be looking forward to receiving a computer printed out piece of paper to put in our machzorim.
You'll be lucky. I'll try. Probably get it wrong.
No, you'll do it correctly.
Faith and confidence in you.
All right.
Okay, Yeshikaya, everyone.
Very good. Okay.
Don't see you. Have a good Shabbos.
A good Shabbos.
Thank you,
The
Mayor.
mayor.